What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Force Strategy Gaming. Today we will be taking a look at Trine 2. Currently in the beta, Trine 2 is a side-scrolling game of action, puzzles, and platforming where you play as one of three heroes who make their way through dangers untold in a fantastical fairy tale world. Yes, this is a puzzle-based side-scroller, lots of fun. Now the introduction here does actually start off with a little bit of a backstory for all three characters. I'll be sure not to talk a lot during that, but once that is done, I'll be able to go into a little more depth about the game.
Once upon a time, there were three valiant heroes, chosen by a magical artifact called the Trine. You may have heard another tale of how they met. Let me tell you a story of their latest adventure. Something mysterious and magical was taking place in the forest. First of the three heroes was Amadeus, a wizard. Not perhaps the bravest or the most powerful, but he was clever and sensible. Then there was Pontius the knight, fearless protector of the realm, who loved good food, drink, and battle. Last but not least was Zoya, a thief.
An entrepreneur.
An entrepreneur. She was mysterious and only seen as a passing shadow on a cloudy night. Amadeus the wizard was asleep in his cottage. It was a place where he could study his fireball spell, hidden from the scornful eye of his wife.
Turn it off. I'm sleeping here. What is it? Who's there?
All right, let's go ahead and get things started here.
How very strange.
All right, so once again, we're going to be starting off with the introductions. First and foremost, we've got the wizard. Now, one of the main goals in this game is not only to get past your objectives, but to collect, as you can see, those little bubbles there, those little glimmery bubbles. So wherever you are, trying to collect those and basically rack up your points.
Was blocked, but this wouldn't stop the great wizard, Amadeus.
Yes.
With his magic, he could lift objects.
And you can see with this, lots of utility here with the mage. He's able to move stuff around, manipulate the environment.
Amadeus could also conjure boxes out of thin air.
And conjure boxes out of thin air. Very, very useful. No question about that. So yes, these little objects here, you have to go throughout the world and collect them.
The light moved through the forest, leading Amadeus further. Torn between fear and wonder, he followed.
And as you can see, trying to manipulate the mushroom, I kind of gave myself a hard time. I wasn't thinking. I was like, okay, let me try it this way. And clearly that's not working. So finally making my way up and use a little gravity, and there you go. We're all set. Now, let's find out about this shining light, huh?
I demand to know what's happening. The Trine. Not this again. Pontius!
Amadeus, get your things! We need to save the kingdom!
What? Oh, this won't do at all, Pontius. I've children waiting for me to come home. I can't leave.
But your magics are needed. The kingdom is in danger.
Will this nightmare ever be over?
Despite his reluctance, Amadeus knew that the heroes were needed once more.
How did you end up here?
Let me tell you.
And now the warrior.
Pontius had headed out that evening, for there was trouble on the peasant farms. Creeping vines were taking over the fields.
A warlock must be behind this devilry. I'll find him and teach him a lesson with my sword.
Pontius isn't the smartest of characters.
With
luck. There'll be pumpkin pie for dinner tonight.
But he's a jolly chap.
Pontius searched the farm, but saw no one there.
The nasties must have fled at the sight of me.
So this is basically your damage dealer. The third and final character can do damage as well, but he is your primary damage dealer in this game. There's no question about that. In fact, you can see an alternate weapon there
That looks dangerous.
in the form of a mace. Also, you have the utility in the shield to be able to block incoming damage. So, and we're trapped. It's all right though. I'll just deal with these vines.
Blasted weeds. I'll show you what for. I'm Pontius the Brave, and I won't fall in a battle with dandelions.
That'd be awful to fall in a battle with dandelions. And the Trine comes to save him.
The Trine!
Pontius had never understood what exactly the Trine did, but he knew that the artifact was there to help. And so Pontius felt happy. He couldn't think of a better quest than saving his kingdom.
And then lastly, our thief.
Late that night, Zoya was concealed in the shadows, hidden from the shimmering moonlight.
So this is your kind of stealthy archer type character. Have the utility of a grappling hook, which is also very useful, and of course that ranged bow.
Zoya passed through the town as quietly as a whisper.
And as you can see, like I mentioned before, just trying to collect as many of these little globes as possible. I'm sure there's a name for them, I can't think of it.
Then she saw a glimmering light moving on top of the old church.
One thing I'm sure you'll notice is how beautiful this game is. The color scheme, it just looks amazing. This game looks absolutely phenomenal. I am just thoroughly impressed with it.
The Trine. How inconvenient.
What are you doing here in the middle of the night? Not back to your old tricks and thievery.
Oh, there's a perfectly good explanation for this. Tell me, where are we going?
We don't really know yet. Something strange is going on.
A new venture. Shall we go then?
So the Trine had come for the heroes, and the adventure was ready to begin. Amadeus worried for his family, while Pontius looked forward to their new quest. Zoya, of course, imagined what fabulous treasure they might find.
And here we are, my friend. Now that the introduction is done, I can actually chat with you guys about the game. This is Trine 2. Absolutely beautiful game, fun platformer, and just a very intriguing playstyle. Now, I did play Trine 1 and I liked it quite a bit, and this game just kind of adds to that and continues the story.
Let the adventure begin!
Where are we? Where did the Trine bring us?
Let's take a look around to find out.
And so it begins. Now, you are able to switch between the three characters in a single-player mode by tapping between 1, 2, and 3. They try to make it nice and simple. And you're going to see, again, I'm trying to collect these all over the place there. Some of them are hidden behind stuff. Some of them are difficult to get to. It's just all about figuring out your course of action. Something else that is very cool about Trine 2 is that there is not one set way to solve any particular puzzle or any particular obstacle. There's always multiple ways to accomplish the goal. It's essentially up to you and how you decide you want to do it. You know, there's so many options, and especially once you start to work in the co-op. Now, I won't be doing co-op here in this playthrough commentary. I'll just be showing you playing through as an individual. But the co-op is a lot of fun, and playing with another person in this game is a lot of fun because you can really do inventive things that you can't do in the single-player aspect of things. There's just certain things you can't do in the single player. That doesn't mean that you can't accomplish everything, because you can. You will be able to get your way through the game. But there's just things in the multiplayer that you can't necessarily pull off in the single player. You can see right there, pulling over using my little magic pull there. the wizard and conjuring a box and again all sorts of stuff. I didn't necessarily have to do that. I could use the grappling hook with the thief to get on top of that log. That's that little chute basically that's bringing down the water. And then I'm like, oh, how do I get up to this one? I decided to move over here and actually make a box and then jump off of that. But again, that didn't necessarily have to be the way I could have done it. And this is the other thing too. I like that there's multiple solutions to these various puzzles. I like that there's not just one set solution, because it does mean, well, in one sense, you won't be getting trapped in any areas, and it won't be, taking you a half hour to try to figure out, oh, how do I do this? They kind of get rid of that by making it possible in multiple ways to accomplish a task. But in addition to that, it lets you be innovative and doesn't punish you for trying things. It encourages you to try stuff. And you can see I leveled up, and taking a look there, the first row, we've got Conjure 2 items, Monster Levitation, then we've got Frost Arrow and Stealth Movement, and then lastly, Frost Shield and Hammer Throwing. Now there's a second level, but I can't get to that quite yet. Firstly, I will be unlocking Conjure 2 items. Breaking through here with the mace there on my warrior. Let's make our way on down, shall we? Those little things that I just ran through, those little glowy things, they do two things. They regenerate your health if you're low on health, and if you have lost any of your characters, they will automatically resurrect them for you. So let's get our way up here.
Intruders!
And oh no!
Do you think we'll have to fight them?
Goblins!
Get your pocky stick. We cook the big fat one. Attack!
It's certainly not the main objective of this game, but it's part of it. A little bit of combat. You'll run into combat through these little minion types of characters randomly as you progress through the platformer. In addition to that, there are also boss fights within the game, and that's a whole other aspect, trying to figure out the boss battle and precisely how it works. And again, you can see in the middle of combat, just being able to switch right through things is really beneficial.
Is this what we're here for? Slaying goblins?
A simple, straightforward quest. I like it.
I don't.
Alright, so I'm gonna keep this way down so that the other end of it stays up, and there we go, made it up nice and safe. And we also have various obstacles that aren't necessarily characters, just trying to get up to a certain area, and this is actually quite annoying. Proved to give me a little bit of a hard time. So able to make it up there, no problem. And then it was about trying to get that grav beam to get up there. I end up walking myself into some spikes and trying it a couple more times until we actually do go ahead and succeed. You'll notice that little spitting that's going on over there. I'll be able to take a look at that in the future. And one more time, and the super fail. And then I think on the third try is when we actually do manage to make our way through. And you can see anytime I was damaged, I'd just hop right through there, and then all of a sudden, hey, all set, no problem. Not the worst of things. But just as an example, let's say there were two of us here. I could, one of the players could play as the wizard and lift up a box, while the other player could play as the thief and stand on that box. And that's just an example of one of those things that it's not going to mean any of these puzzles are impossible to solve, but it'll just mean that it's a little more difficult. It's not necessarily as easy. And I think I decide after this, I'm like, you know what, this is just, I've had enough. I've had enough of these shenanigans, this tomfoolery. I'll try one more time, and then that happens. So I can create up to 2 boxes, but when you lose one, if you try to make another one, then the old one disappears. And is that when I finally just throw in the towel? I can do it, I just didn't want to waste any more time. I was like, you know what, this is taking forever, and it's going to get boring for when I'm going through it. And you guys are watching and be like, oh, you can't make the jump. It's alright though. Alright, so collecting more objects, we got these other obstacles here. Taking a look at these swinging boulders, just making things a little more difficult. Obviously from standing on that platform below, that swinging boulder will knock me off. So that's just one of those things. If you were making your way across without the ranged character, it could be it's a little bit more difficult. And swing your way up, use that gravity to your advantage, and pick up a chest. Now these collectible items, there's paintings, there's poems, all sorts of things. I do not know if there's an actual use for them or if it's just kind of part of the whole score game, like collecting these little globes are. I'm really not certain. I actually wasn't able to delve into that, but there's no time to think about that because there are some goblins coming after me. Take care of the one, and that'll be it. The archer being so super quick, making your way through, and yeah, there you go. That's a perfect example of how those boulders will knock you down. No questions about that. I actually almost wish that they did damage as well, because it didn't, as you saw. And then this guy came, and all of a sudden, I'm getting knocked off stuff here. And I was like, I just got fed up. I said, you know what? Trying to shoot him from close range with an arrow is kind of stupid. So, and then the next thing is actually trying to figure out those globes. So just hop on top of the boulder and jump down. And the alternative to that would have just been to go straight for those boxes and make a stack of 2, and I could have done the same thing. I decided to do a little swinging with that, and once more kind of displaying the versatility here that is allowed in this game. Make your way up to the heart. The heart refreshes health, but if you're at full health, not really much doing there, Close range, take him out, block some of those arrows with the shield, and a nice little mix between the two, bouncing back and forth is efficient. Now, while I don't use the mage much in combat, he can be used later on. You can lift up enemies and drop them, but you can also conjure a box on top of someone's head, and then use that to kind of squish them. That's another option, but again, when I was in combat, I primarily stuck to these two. I just felt, that was just my preferred playstyle. And I can do what's preferred. Arrow doesn't work. Let's make a box, lift it up, and smash it down to the ground. Oh, how beautiful is that? And we got to land on the other side of that shooting flower. That reminds me so much of Mario. Is it not? A little different, though. Work our way through here. Smash our way through this brick wall. And no, crumbling takes us down. There's some Mario flowers again. A little bit of an issue there. Took some massive damage on the way down. And the way back is actually going to kill my poor little warrior. But it's okay, because we're right next to a little resurrection area. The health and resurrection area. Firstly, pick up monster levitation. That will let me pick up and drop enemies. And watch as I try to make it down, I get just slammed there. It's not working at all. So then you just hit 1 or 2 and it will switch to whatever other character. And then again, watch this, walk right back. And he is back. Nice and safe and sound. Not a problem whatsoever. And this guy trying to drop a boulder on, it's so cool. You can do so much. And I got fed up. I was like, all right, I'll just lift you up and then squish you. How's that sound? That's what he got. I mean, he was trying to push a boulder on top of my head. That is just frustrating. I'm gonna go back one more time, and just like watching the radiant lights and the glow from some of these effects. Just pay attention to the graphics as we work our way through here. This beta is, I believe, about 30 minutes long, so we get a little bit longer, but it's just so beautiful. And this is something that you don't see that often in side-scroller games. You don't typically see such attention to, having kind of a, I would consider for a side shooter, this is pretty high graphical fidelity. This is pretty high quality stuff here. Especially once more, I'm repeating myself, but for a side scroller, it's just amazing. I'm amazed by the amount of quality that's coming out from this. To me, it's super impressive. It just looks so good. The light effects in the background, even having background animations there in the waterfall. And you may say, well, of course, that's not much. I mean, this is like you say, this is a side scroller, but still, this is a lot. Not only is this a lot of work, they just did a great job. And I don't necessarily like colorful games, but it could not be more perfect for a game like this. It really couldn't. So we'll come across another puzzle here.
That's a funny looking rock.
Why, it's a huge snail enjoying a shower.
Yes, that is right. He's just a huge snail enjoying a shower. Now, whenever you see a water area like this with one of these chutes and a glowing spot on the ground, just first and foremost, your objective is to get water to that glowing spot. That implies that that plant, upon watered, will grow. And as exampled here. And then we've got a nice cabbage.
There she goes. She has a healthy appetite, that one.
Just a hungry snail enjoying his cabbage.
What's that?
Whatever it was, I'm glad it went the other way.
All right, so we got a few more enemies over here, and then another little puzzle area. And I do believe that this next one gave me a little bit of a hard time. It wasn't that figuring out what to do was the issue. It was just taking so very long. I just decided, yeah, I threw my hands up and went with a kind of makeshift response, a makeshift answer to my problems. So you're gonna notice here, we've got a little lever, and that all you really have to do is visually follow the strings to figure out what's going on. It's not very complex. You can see here, pull the lever, that's going to yank up the platform on the bottom and pull down the platform on the top as a result. And that's what you need to do. You realize that, and that's all you need to do. So we'll be dropping a couple boxes here and getting ready to make that venture. But first and foremost, don't forget to collect your orbs. You need those points. 28 out of 50 right now. And in the co-op system as well, that's a really good thing, because you can hound your friends to make sure, hey, no, we can't leave this area, there's an orb. When you're playing by yourself, I think it's very easy to throw your hands up, but playing with a partner kind of forces completion, I feel like, a lot of the time. At least that's how I personally feel when I play with my friends. We refuse to give up in any particular situation. I'm gonna make a couple boxes here, try to block him. He ends up smashing through that, but here comes the warrior to smash your face. Now, admittedly, I do not have much experience at all with platformers. In fact, to be frank, a majority of my gaming experience is RTS, RPG, and FPS. And we consider those the heavy hitters of gaming. Those are kind of the big genres: the role-playing games, the real-time strategies, and the first-person shooters. Those are kind of the big, renowned types of games that you typically see. But even without a lot of platformer experience and even puzzle game experience, I had an absolute blast playing this game. This is it's just so enjoyable, and I feel like they did such a great job putting it's not even just one aspect of it. It's not just the graphics. It's not that the game looks so good, and it's not just the ability to switch in between 3 characters with varying abilities. It's all of these things combined into one package, and me dropping down like a dummy and getting blown up because I forgot the crates had been replaced, and somehow he died. That's an issue. I don't know if you noticed, but the barbarian just died when I selected him on top. Just like, yeah, you know what? I'm not alive. For some odd reason, I am no longer alive. So anyways, that's an issue. But I think the point is that as an individual without a lot of experience with this type of a game, having such enjoyment out of it, and I've tried other platformers, and I'm not speaking ill of other platformers that I've tried, but this one was just so engaging and drew me in so much for all those aspects combined, as I mentioned. The graphics, the diversity, having skill trees as well on the platform, that is cool. And it's great. I mean, this is definitely going to be a must-buy for me once it does come out. And if you're wondering right now, you've been enjoying the gameplay, you've been enjoying the commentary, when is this out for us? Well, it should be coming out in December, which, as we know, is just around the corner. You probably want to just keep an eye on Steam. That's where I'm going to be getting it, to figure out exactly when you're going to be able to pick it up once it was announced. Now, it is in the beta. They are doing testing. Assuming that a lot of that has to do with just the multiplayer aspect. In fact, from what I understand, you can play PC users and Mac users can play the co-op together. That's an option in this game, and that's good. I like that kind of cross-platforming. That having that option, I think, is pretty awesome. So, and another level up here, so we'll go ahead and pick that up momentarily. First, we'll switch on over here and do a little swingy because we have got, again, an item to pick up. And then once on top, I picked up Frost Arrow, making the offensive here for my lovely, lovely thief a little bit stronger. And actually, wow, I took him out in one shot. That's impressive. The thief is probably my favorite. If I had to pick one, if you would ask me, Forrest, what is your favorite out of all the characters in here? The thief. Now, you play all of them. You kind of have to get the most out of the game, but...
Is that the wind blowing?
No, it's the air coming from those pipes.
There we go. Didn't want to interrupt. You do have to play through all of them to kind of get the most out of the game. I feel to even just get the most enjoyment out of the game, you should play through all of them. But out of all the characters, I do enjoy the thief the most. So it took me a moment to realize that there's a stupid vine laying over there. And once I got that, I was able to maneuver that. And you don't even necessarily have to put that there. You could put it on the other side. that would be an option. If that's something you wanted to try to do, you could do that. And I did try to get up here. I couldn't quite figure it out. I think I just assumed that this was going to do the trick, and when it didn't, I just kind of said, forget it. Wasn't about to spend a half an hour there, so.
Oh, what a jolly looking place.
And here we come to our first little boss fight.
Look at the size of that thing.
A giant snake.
It's monstrous.
Now, in my first playthrough, I did not know exactly what to do, but this one's fairly simple. You just basically have to get him to kill his own platforms. I tried actually fighting him and shooting him, and nothing was working. And he one-shots you if you get hit by that giant, as you would assume, if you get hit by that giant venom strike. You're a dead man. But all you have to do is get him to kill the, look at the squish. Squished! Oh no, I thought I squished him. I lied. So yeah, this was, after I figured it out, it was simple. The first time I played through it, though, I did not get it this quick. I just want to be honest with you guys, that's all. But look, he squishes himself. What a dumb snake.
Gargantuan snakes and giant snails. Whatever next?
Huge grilled pork, I hope.
Who are these strange people? I better keep my eye on them.
And that is it, guys. That is all the content in the Trine 2 beta. And I'll tell you right now, this game is certainly getting a big thumbs up for me. I had a lot of fun playing it. I just enjoy the experience, and once again, once this comes out, I will be purchasing it. Even if you've never tried platformers or are not a big fan of puzzle games, hopefully this Let's Play has given you a good idea as to what to expect with Trine 2, and quite possibly it'll be something that you pick up. It's certainly, once again, getting my stamp of approval. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this walkthrough of the Trine 2 beta. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more great gaming coverage. I just do all sorts of things, daily gaming news show and everything like that. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe, keep watching, and keep owning.